welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about shading and how important it is. So I had put up a post a couple days ago in my Facebook group, and I had asked all of the members of my Facebook group what they struggle with the most on their coloring pages. A lot of answers came in. I think that the post is close to probably 300 comments now, and they are still coming. And I did go back and I linked a lot of videos on things that I had already done to sort of help everyone out with different things that they were struggling with. One of the comments that I saw the absolute most was, so many of you are struggling with shading. And so I wanted to make this video so I could just show you why shading is so important. I wanted to sort of help you with choosing some of your colors when you're trying to get that really intense look when it comes to your shadows. And a lot of the other colors in your combination play a role in the way that your shadows are going to look on your coloring page. So we're going to talk about all of that today in this video. I am going to show you exactly how I pick my colors, because that was something else that I saw in a lot of the comments, was choosing colors. And when you are trying to make sure that you have a lot of shading and your shadows are in the right place and your highlights are in the right place on your coloring page, choosing your colors is very important. So we are going to do all of that today in steps. The first thing I wanted to bring to you is how to choose your colors. And so that's what we're going to discuss first. And I'm going to show you how I put my color combinations together so that every part of my color combination comes together really, really nicely, really emphasizing those highlights so they pop, and the shadows so that they're really dramatic. If you enjoy videos like this, please do make sure you subscribe to my channel and also turn your bell notifications on. If you would like to join my Facebook group where I post questions like this and get feedback from all of you so that I could create my videos, I would love to have you there. You will find a link down in the description box below, as well as a link to my email list and also to my Patreon if you would like to support me over there. We are going to go ahead and get into this video now. The first thing I want to share with you in this video is the color catalog. This is the color catalog by Sarah Renee Clark. Many of you have probably seen me talk about this in previous videos, but I figured out a little bit of a quote-unquote cheat and a way to be able to use this that is wonderful for beginners, where you can stick to a monochromatic color palette and still be able to intensify your shadows and your highlights and all of that when you are choosing your colors. For those of you that have not seen this color catalog yet and are just stumbling across this video, I will show you really quick, but it is separated by colors, keywords, and collections. You can choose any one of these and it will take you directly to that part of the color catalog. It's completely interactive. So if I clicked here and I chose colors, all you have to do is decide when you're looking at your page, your coloring page, and you see an object on the coloring page, say you're coloring a flower and you want to color those flowers blue. You've got several choices over here in the blue range to be able to click on. So if I clicked on, let's try royal blue. Once I click on royal blue, it's going to take me right to the color palettes for royal blue. If I wanted to go back up to where I was, I would just hit this little color wheel here and it would take me right back to this section again. Say I wanted to color something on my page green. I would choose any one of the greens. Let's go ahead and click on Kelly Green, and it's going to take me to all of the Kelly Green color palettes. Now, my little trick, or my little quote-unquote hack for beginners, my advice would be, if you're a beginner, to stay within a monochromatic color palette, meaning all of the colors are green, but just different values or different shades of green. If I'm looking at the Kelly Green color palettes, I can see that if I look at them, there are many with all different shades thrown in. I can see that there is one over here in the corner that is a lot of different shades of green. If I click on that, it's going to bring me directly to that color palette. This is what I would consider a monochromatic color palette. So you can see that there's many different shades of green. When you purchase the color catalog, you have the choice of purchasing color catalog 1 and color catalog 2, and also adding on the companions. I believe if you purchase volume 1 and volume 2 together, you get a discounted price, and then you also have the option of adding the companions on. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this color palette so that I could keep it in my photos on my phone. You could pull the color catalogs up on your PC, you could pull them up on your phone, you could pull them up on your iPad. It's really so convenient. Here is the color catalog companion, and this is just fabulous because it is going to help beginner colorists pick out their color combination. Our color palette that we chose from the color catalog is number 194. I am going to show you this little trick I thought up. Little trick or hack or whatever you want to call it that I thought up that is going to help y'all so much. Now, this is the color catalog. This one is for Prismacolor. There are several of them for several different pencil sets. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to look for number 194. So here is 194 right here. And look how neat this is, because this is going to tell me exactly the numbers in my Prismacolor set that all of these colors are for. So I grabbed my Prismacolors and I have them all right here, and I'm going to show you exactly how they match up to this palette. So if I look at 908, which is right here, I have dark green, and then I have 909, and that is grass green, which is right here. Then I have apple green, which is 912, which is this one here. And then we have chartreuse, which of course, first glance, I knew that was chartreuse immediately. Once you get really familiar with your Prismacolors, you'll be able to do this on your own. But until you start to become really familiar with any one pencil set, it's going to be more difficult to do that. But this is 989. And a lot of times, it makes it easy just to sort of hold the pencil up or swatch the pencil out on your paper to be able to go back and match it up to your palette when you have the picture pulled up on your phone. But this is a really great way to do it until you get really familiar with your pencil sets. And this is a really cool hack or trick to be able to put your colors together just for even one color combination. I know a lot of people focus and concentrate on choosing a color palette and allowing that color palette to be utilized on the entire page, but color palettes can be used in so many different ways, and I don't think a lot of colorists really realize that. In my previous videos where I've done the thought process of the colorist, I showed you in my last video, and I'll link that one up in the upper right hand corner. I showed you how I used one color palette for one object I was coloring on a page, and then I chose another color palette for the surrounding objects, and I brought some of the colors from the previous color palette into the other color palette, or the new color palette, creating balance amongst the whole entire page that I was coloring. Color palettes can just be used in so many different ways, but if you're interested in purchasing the color catalogs for yourself, there will be a link down in the description box below. Let me go ahead and show you now how we are going to create our shadows. I'm going to show you two different examples. So I have this piece of Spring Hill paper here, and I just drew two circles on this paper. because I want to be able to show you exactly the difference shadows make. And they make a huge difference when you put your shadows in the right place and the highlights in the right place and all of that. So I did this 2-circle method on this piece of paper because I figure that you all can maybe grab a piece of paper, draw 2 circles, and sort of follow along with me. And I think this will be a really great lesson in shading. For the sake of this video, we are going to go ahead and take some of the colors from our color palette, and we are going to choose 3. Our color palette gives us a really good starting point as to what colors we should use. Now, the color palette also had white in it, which I'm not so much concerned about that. I really want to be able to use a highlight color. And this chartreuse is a fabulous highlight color. Now, I always tell y'all you need 3 colors. That is the easiest way to do this. You don't really ever have to color any object on your coloring page with more than 3 colors. You can make beautiful pages with just 3 colors in your color combination for each object you're coloring. So I have chartreuse. I'm going to choose out of this color combination. And then I want to be able to choose a mid-tone from these colors, as well as the darkest color, which we're going to use for shadows. Now, I'm using the color palette as sort of a starting point, but I am going to pick 3 colors from that color palette. So the choices that I would go with are probably the chartreuse, and because the chartreuse has a lot of yellow in it, I am going to go with the apple green, which is also a bright, beautiful color. So I'm going to put that with it for my mid-tone. And then I want to choose something that is dark enough to really intensify those shadows. You need to make sure when you're choosing your colors that your mid-tone and your shadowing color have a pretty big difference in values, but not too much of a difference. If you get all your colors down on the coloring page and you notice that you're having trouble with your transitions and the darkest color blending into the mid-tone, you can always come back and use the color that is in between those colors to help your transition a little bit more. We're going to use these 3 colors here. In one of these boxes, I'm going to lay just 2 of the colors down. I'm going to lay my highlight color down, and I'm going to lay the mid-tone down. And in the other box, I'm going to come back after I do that, and I'm going to use my shadow color, and I'm going to show you the difference that it makes. So I have my highlight color, which is the chartreuse, and I'm just going to lay this color all in this circle. And I'm going to do the same thing over here in this other circle. Now I'm going to come back with my mid-tone, which was the apple green, and I'm going to lay some of this down and sort of blend it into that chartreuse color. If you don't already know, these 2 colors together, oh, they're just so gorgeous. I love apple green and chartreuse together all of the time. So I'm just going around and blending this all around to the outside of the circle and blending it into my chartreuse. And I'm going to do the exact same thing over here on this side. Again, blending it into the chartreuse. Now, of course, I'm going to want to come back and I'm going to want to lay another layer. This paper, the Spring Hill paper, it can handle quite a few layers. It is pretty toothy and it is wonderful for colored pencils. And I know there was a lot of discussion in my Facebook group as to whether or not I am using the 80 pound or the 67 pound. And right now I'm using the 80 pound paper. I tend to use both weights in this paper, depending on what it is I'm doing. If you're a colorist and you like having more tooth to your paper and a thicker paper, then I would go with the 80 pound. And if you don't want to spend a lot of time coloring and blending and moving your layers around, then I would go with the 67 pound paper. Okay, so I have a couple layers in each one. Maybe I should put a little bit more over here on this side, just to make it the same color, because I think the other one was a little bit darker. So I think they're the same. So we have one here that has just the midtone and the highlight, and the other one here that just has the midtone and the highlight. Now I am going to take my dark green and I'm going to start laying my shadows down within this circle, and I'm going to show you the difference that it makes with your shadows. Look at the difference in these colors. Now see, I chose two colors that one was much darker than the other one, and so when it blends into the midtone, it's just really going to create that extra depth and dimension, and it's going to give this circle a much more three-dimensional look. As I come back and I continue to lay this color down and just pull it into that apple green, it's just going to make such a huge difference. And you could see the two of these and the difference, the huge difference that just that one color made in these two circles. Now I could come back over here and I could lay another layer of my midtone and make it even darker. Every single colored pencil in your colored pencil set, no matter what set it is going to have many different values within that one color. You could lay one layer and get a much lighter value in the color, or you could lay a couple layers or a few layers. When I do my swatch sheets, those of you that have seen my swatching videos, I always do one layer very lightly, and then I do a medium one, and then I do a dark one, and this helps me to be able to see what my colors are going to look like when I lay them down on my coloring page, dependent upon how many layers I lay down on whatever object it is. So now I'm going to come back with my apple green, and I'm going to take that shadow color, or that color I used for shadowing, my dark green, and I'm going to pull this down a little bit and blend it closer into the center of the circle. And I'm going to do this all the way around. And I'm pulling it into that highlight color. Now, do you see the difference in these colors and how important it is to make sure that you have chosen the right highlight color that is really going to make it pop, and the right midtone and the right shadowing color? Now, if I come back and I just continue to add more of this color, like I said a minute ago, the more you add, the darker it's going to get. And I'm not even going to need my other color from the color palette, because I think that these colors are transitioning beautifully. When you're using some of the budget-friendly or the more budget-friendly pencils, and not something like a Prismacolor, you may find that your pencils will not transition as well, and so you may need to use colors that are much closer to one another in value, which that's okay, because we all love our budget pencils too. So I'm going to just lay a little bit more of that down, and then I'm going to come back and lay more of the apple green down. And you could see as the layers continue to pile onto the paper and come together, the huge difference that it makes just by having the darkest color in our color palette in the other circle. So if I come back again and I lay down even more of it, and I pull it down even further on one side, I'm going to start to create a huge three-dimensional look. Now when you come down on the outside and you use your shadowing color to come around the outside and you go around the outside of your object, you can do this to just create that depth and dimension that we all look for on our coloring pages. And then you could just continue to keep coming back and blending the colors in, layering your colors one on top of the other. And it just makes such a huge difference. And using that little trick or hack, whatever you'd like to call it, that I showed you that you could use with color palettes, it makes it so much easier for anybody to just choose their color combinations using a monochromatic color palette. But look at the difference in just these two, just by doing that. I mean, I could keep coming back and adding more color. This paper will take plenty more layers, but no matter how many layers I continue to add with my midtone, it just does not have the same look. I'm going to come back and I'm going to add more of my highlight color just to really give it that pop. But even still, no matter how much I continue to come back, I'm going to do it over here on this side too, and I'm going to pull all these colors together. But no matter how much I continue to come back, there's no way with just the two colors, without using any kind of shadowing color or shading color, to bring all my colors together and create that dimension that we all look for on our coloring pages. There's no way the two of them are going to look the same. So you can see now that just by choosing the right colors, making sure there is a big enough difference in the values of colors, that you can create something on your coloring page that is just so dramatic that when someone looks at your coloring page, everything is just going to pop off the page. And you're going to do that with these three colors. And as you can see here, you only need three colors. You don't need any more than that ever. I'm just blending this in just a little bit more so y'all could get the right idea of what it's going to look like. And if you wanted to come back and you wanted to burnish the colors together with your white or blend them together with your blending pencil, you can do that as well. But if I did even come back with my white, I have my white here, as you know, or if you remember, the white was actually part of that monochromatic color palette. But if I come back with my white and I burnish all these colors together and even make the center a little bit more highlighted with my white color, this side is still going to look more dramatic. Let me go ahead and take all of the green, the darker green off of there, and come back, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side and just burnish all these colors together. And the colors are coming together beautifully and blending together so nicely. We're burnishing it out, getting rid of all of the white of the paper. But this side still looks very different without the intense shadows. I hope you all practiced that right along with me. I'm going to go ahead and get a coloring book, and I'm going to show you the difference it makes in a coloring book too. Maybe we'll color like just two leaves that are really close next to one another so we could see the difference in an actual coloring book and how the shadows are really going to make one leaf just really pop off the page using the same exact colors that we did here in these circles. Now, if you need to go back and stop the video here and you just want to practice in your circles, continue to practice in your circles and go and pull some color palettes and try this technique with several different color palettes and different monochromatic color palettes, choosing different colors, maybe some purples or some blues or some reds, and just practice a little bit on your own. And then come back to the next half of the video where I show you the difference that it's going to make on your coloring pages, and then you are ready to just sort of move this to your coloring pages as well. I am using Maria Trolle's Nightfall coloring book. This is one of my favorite coloring books for all of you that don't know, just because mainly I absolutely love the paper in it. It works so well with so many different pencil sets. So I found 2 leaves here that are pretty small that I could fit into this video so that it doesn't get too long. But these 2 are sitting right next to one another. So I'm going to demonstrate with these 2 leaves the difference it's going to make when I just use the midtone and the highlight as opposed to the midtone, the highlight, and the shadows. So I'm going to come in here on this leaf and I'm going to start laying down my highlight color. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, laying down my highlight color. Now I'm going to lay in some of this apple green, which is my midtone, and sort of pull it into that color. I'm going to do each one of these leaves the same way. I'm not going to go out of my way in this video to be extremely artistic because I just really want to demonstrate to you the difference it makes when you use your shadowing color. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing on this one and just sort of lay this color in here, pulling it into the highlight color. And even if I added a little bit of this just to sort of emphasize the veins like I usually do in a leaf. If y'all are looking for leaf tutorials or different ideas on how to color leaves, I actually just took all of my videos where I did leaf tutorials and I put them all into a playlist. So I'm going to link that up above in the upper right hand corner, so that you can take a look at that if you would like to. But I've done a lot of leaf tutorials. You all know that we are always coloring leaves because we all, or most of us, love books like Joanna Basford and these Maria Trolle books, and there's just leaves all over the place in most coloring books. Okay, so now I have my dark green. And so we're going to use this one, and I think I'm going to use this one on this leaf just because this leaf is closer for me and I can get a better angle when I'm doing this. But let me go ahead and add a little bit more color over here to this one first. Just to make it look a little bit better so I could really show you the differences, because over there on the other side I sort of emphasized the veins just a little bit, so I want to make sure I do the same on both of them, making them both look pretty much the same. Okay, so they look the same now. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you just what happens when I go in here and I start adding some of my dark green, which is the color I'm using for shadows. Watch how intense this is. Look at the difference already. Look how it just sort of starts to pop off the page compared to the one over here. Look at the difference. This is why shading and creating shadows is so important when you're coloring. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to really make my veins just sort of pop off the page and see if I didn't have this darkest color, as you can see on the other side, I wouldn't even be able to do this. But your shadow color or the darkest color in your color combination, whatever you're using to create those shadows, That is what's going to make the image on your coloring page look so much more realistic. And again, we're only using 3 colors. So now I'm able to come back with my apple green, and I could pull that color down even a little bit more and blend that shadow color into the center of the leaf. You always want to make sure that when you're creating shadows, that your shadows are blended into your other colors so that they don't just look flat. And you can continue to just keep coming back and adding more and more of your shadowing color. Of course, that's the whole point in using colored pencils, is continuing to come back and adding more layers. Now let me be fair, so I need to go over here to this other one and add a little bit more of this color, just as I did here in the one with the darkest color in it. And again, I'm going to go over the leaves. And see, even though this mid-tone, this spring green, is a bright, beautiful color, it needs other colors to really just bring to it what it should be, because it's a gorgeous, bright, vibrant color, just like the chartreuse. But with colored pencils, the key is really blending the colors together to intensify the other colors, and that's why we have color combinations. And combining your colors is one of the most important skills that you could learn with your colored pencils, so it's really important to practice that. And having a swatch sheet always available to you is also very important, because it helps you to really see those colors. Now, for something really intricate like I'm doing here, where I'm just sort of lining the veins and making sure they really pop, making them look really realistic, you want to make sure that the lead of your pencil is really, really sharp. And you want to continue to just turn your pencil as you saw me do a minute ago, because that is what keeps the tip sharp on your pencil and alleviates you having to continue to go back and keep sharpening your pencil. Now, as I come back and I continue to just keep layering this shadowing color, you can see what a huge difference this makes. As the color gets darker and darker, the value in the colors just completely changes, and it just continues to make that leaf look so much more three-dimensional. I'm going to add a little bit more of my apple green, and I'm just sort of blending in this shadowing color. And of course, where I laid it on the veins, I want to make sure that I spread that through just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little. Just so that it doesn't make the veins look sort of flat. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do the same exact things. But you can see that we're not going to have the same result no matter how much of this apple green that I lay down here, no matter how much I go over the veins, trying to really emphasize the intricate parts of the leaf. There's going to be really no difference there. I hope that you found this tutorial really helpful. This was just so highly requested. I cannot tell you the amount of comments of people saying that they struggled with shading. And so I just really wanted to be able to bring you this video today. And of course, this is a film it, edit it, and get it out there in one day video, because that's about how I've been running lately, because I'm in the middle of a huge project and that project is taking up a lot of my time. I'll be able to talk about that a little bit more here really, really soon, because I'm coming up to my deadline, but I'm trying as much as I can to be able to be consistent with my videos and not put too much space into the videos I'm releasing here on my channel. and I've had to kind of make my videos every 3 days instead of every 2 days. I was doing every other day, and it is going to go back to every other day here very, very soon, because this is coming to an end very soon here in the next week or so. If you would like me to expand on this video a little bit more, even maybe with just some different colors, please let me know in the comments below what you would like to see in an upcoming video, because I always look at your suggestions just like I did with this one, and I always want to bring y'all content that you want to see, and I want to show you things and how to do things that you're really struggling with to help you really improve your coloring skills. That's really my goal here on my channel, and I think it's working because I've gotten so much positive feedback between my Facebook group and in the comment section here on my YouTube channel. And my YouTube channel is growing faster than I would have ever even imagined. I feel like I just hit 10,000 subscribers and now I'm approaching 11,000. It's just really, really crazy. So I want to thank everybody that watches me for watching my videos and supporting me always. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Happy coloring. Bye.